Well, Galileo is a long story. We started working on Galileo with the Galileo SAT program. This program was created in the early 2000s, and it was an instrumental program in order to develop the first elements of the system. We deployed the first two experimental satellites, JAVIER and JAVIER, and we executed what we call the in-orbit validation phase, launching the first four satellites and the first elements of the ground segment. And this was really necessary in order to master the technology and to design the whole system. ESA is partners with the European Union for implementing Galileo, and in that respect with the European Commission, who is the program manager of the Galileo and the EGNOS program, and EUSPA, the European Union Space Programs Agency. EUSPA is in charge of operating the system and providing the services. And in that context, ESA is the system prime for development, and we also are in charge of the upstream R&D to develop the technologies for the future evolution of the systems. We actually designed the system, we developed the infrastructure, ground and satellites, we deploy the system, and we hand it over turnkey to EUSPA for operations. Well, I've been working on satellite navigation for the last 30 years. It was back in the mid-90s that we conceived within ESA the European strategy for satellite navigation, and that consisted of two main elements, what we called at the time GNSS-1, which became later EGNOS, and GNSS-2, which became Galileo. So it is a long story. Well, when you mentioned that you work on Galileo, people think, well, Galileo is the largest space system ever built in Europe. So this is quite amazing. But they also think about the political connotation of Galileo. Galileo is about sovereignty, is about European autonomy, is about providing for Europe and for the world the best possible system with the most modern technology. And actually Galileo today is a success, is one of the flagships of the European Union together with Copernicus, and it is providing services to several billions of users worldwide. So it is something we have to be proud of. When people say they use GPS, I tell them you have Galileo in your pocket. You probably are using Galileo almost all the time because Galileo is actually a system that works better. It provides better performance, but it also provides additional services that will be very useful in a large domain of applications. Well, the performance of Galileo is quite amazing, but actually we engineers are not surprised by that because we have been preparing for it. We have developed the system from the very beginning, measured the performance with the first elements, so we were actually very aware that Galileo would deliver excellent performance because of the technology which is contained within the system. We have already started the first steps for deploying the next generation, second generation of Galileo, which will consist of more powerful satellites, satellites which will deliver additional services. They will also be reconfigurable in orbit, so this gives us a lot of flexibility, and we can adapt the services of the system to the market needs. And that really is an innovation that we will bring into Galileo. The Navigation Directorate has a large portfolio of activities. Besides Galileo, we are also developing the EGNOS system, which stands for the European Geostationary Navigation Overlay Service. This is an augmentation to GPS originally, but we are now expanding the EGNOS system to also provide augmentation to the Galileo system, so integrating the two systems. And EGNOS is a very successful program, providing support in particular to air traffic management. And in future, it will become the primary means of navigation for all aircraft in the European airspace. So that is very important. We are also having a program called NAVISP, which stands for Navigation Innovation Support Program, which is looking at supporting industry for developing all sorts of applications, because navigation has become in the meantime the largest application domain of space systems, and therefore there is a lot of activity in the downstream sector to develop applications based on satellite navigation signals. And ESA is committed to work with lots of industries. Many of them are non-space traditional industries, but which create a lot of value based on the Galileo and EGNOS system.